Good morning, students. Today we will read the chapter Nationalism in Europe. The chapter begins with one painting made by Frederick Soulu, and this was a series of four paintings in which Frederick Soulu, he was a French artist. And he had a utopian vision for the world. He said that the people are marching. Here, the Statue of Liberty is there, and people are marching along with their national flags, and they are paying homage to the Statue of Liberty. And in the foreground lies the remains of autocratic monarchy. This was his utopian vision, and he visualized that the countries are the nation state and social democratic republic. This was his vision for the society, and this vision was considered a utopian vision that in real life it may not be possible. In 1848, it was very difficult to imagine such a world. Next is the concept of modern state and nation state. Next is modern state and nation state. On the second page of the chapter, it is given modern state. A centralized power exercise sovereign control over clearly defined territory. This was the concept of modern state. There will be a centralized power. Suppose the country is there in the capital city, there is one administration power, monarchy, etc. And it is having a sovereign control over the clearly defined territory. So this is the territory over this. Here the king who is sitting in the capital is having control. Then the concept of nation state. In nation state, majority of citizens and the rulers, they have common past, that is descent, and they have common aspirations and goals. Their aspirations and goals are also common. So these things should be common. Easy to understand. Here the country is made up of defined territory, and here the country means people. The people who are having a common origin, descent, should be in the one country, and the ruler should also be among these people. That means India should be ruled by Indian, France should be ruled by French. This was somehow the concept of nation state. Clear? Now the first sign of nationalism. This is the most frequently asked question in board examination also. Very important question. It was seen in 1789. French Revolution. In 9th class we have read French Revolution 1789. In this there were certain measures adopted for common identity. People develop a common identity, and how these the measures were. New French flag. What is tricolor? Instead of the former royal standard, now a new French flag was adopted. New hymns were composed. The concept of La Patrie and Les Citoyens. La Patrie means the fatherland. Les Citoyens, the citizens. Now there were no estate, कि ये first, ये second, ये third estate. All were considered citizens. Here the concept of the fatherland. Regional dialects were discouraged. And French was adopted as the national language. French language. There is a difference between dialect and language. Dialect means in Hindi we call boli, and language means bhasha. Like Mewadi is a dialect, but Hindi is the language. So locally spoken, their local language is known as dialect. So there were also large variation in France. Locally people used to speak different languages, dialects. Instead of it, in French Revolution it was said that now the French will be the national language. And French also, which was spoken in Paris, that will be the national language. Similarly, National Assembly. Instead of estate general, National Assembly was made responsible. That now this will be the elected body of active citizens. So National Assembly was there. So these were some of the measures which were adopted. Internal custom duties were removed. Internal custom duties were removed. So these were some of the measures adopted in France for common identity. Now, these ideas led to the formation of Jacobean clubs also. There were Jacobean clubs which were there. And these Jacobean clubs spread these ideas. These were the club of educated people. And the ideas spread in Holland, Switzerland, Belgium, and so parts of Italy, especially the northern Italy. These ideas spread, and with the army also these things spread all over the Europe. Now came the Civil Code of 1804. Civil Code of 1804, popularly known as Napoleonic Code. Napoleon became the ruler of France in 1804, and as soon as he became the ruler, he brought the civil code. And this civil code says, by birth, a person will not get any privilege. Because he is born in this family, he will be getting this advantage. So he refused. By birth, no one will get any privilege. He established equality before law. Right to property. Right to property. He established right to property also. He established that there will be no privileges based on birth, equality before law and equal right to property. So these were some major points of Napoleonic Code. Other than this, he also simplified the administrative division. Simplified administrative division. Abolished serfdom and manorial dues. Now, this means somewhat like slavery. So, Gulami slavery he abolished among the French people. Generally, with the feudalism, serfdom was associated, and it was more common in Central and Eastern Europe. He improved the transport system, transport and communication. Transport and communication system were improved. Guild restrictions were removed. Guild restrictions were removed. Guild restriction means a union type of thing that other people are not allowed to work. Only few people who were there in that guild can only work. So, like it was like freedom of occupation kind of thing. Now anyone can do any kind of work. Now, all these things were very good. Napoleon administration was also very good. Things were going on well. People were very happy. So there was a great enthusiasm for Napoleon. People were very happy. Napoleon is ruling. The things have changed. Now the condition will improve. But this initial enthusiasm for Napoleon soon turned into hostility. And why it turned into hostility? Yeah, why people were later not very much happy with Napoleon? The first reason, tax burden. Napoleon was continuously engaged in war. There's one story behind it. The ruler of Austria asked Napoleon that why you are continuously engaged in war? You have become a great king. Now there is no need for such wars. Napoleon said that I am a child of war and revolt. Okay, you are like dynastic rulers. Your father was ruler, your grandfather was ruler, but I am ruler by war only. He also once said that I found the crown of France lying on ground and I picked up with my sword. So without war, Napoleon could not survive. People liked him because he was a great warrior. So tax burden was there because of continuous war. Censorship. On media, print media, etc. There was censorship. Third point, forced recruitment in army. Forced recruitment, forced conscription. Forced conscription in army. Forced conscription in army. Person was doing his own job somewhere else, and now people ask him to join army. War है, बढ़ती हो जाओ सेना में. So these were the reasons why the people were not very much happy later on with Napoleon. Now, the making of nationalism in Europe. Europe was divided into many countries, kingdoms. These kingdoms were divided into duchies and cantons. And most of these Rachis and Kent, they were like autonomous rulers. They were like nearly free. They had their own culture. The way of like governing administration was totally different in some different parts of the country. Then there is aristocracy. The rich people, the landlords. That time only mainly the rich people were the aristocrat, the landlords, feudal lords. These feudal lords were having a large estate. What is Jamine? Their own palace, etc. in their village. And they also had townhouses. Townhouses in the city. Like in the kingdom, here the capital city is there where king is living. And here the area of the feudal lord. Here he is having large land. His own palace is also here. In the city also he is having a palace that is known as townhouse. And here big land. In Western Europe, most of the land was given on rent. There were tenants, kiraya. They were cultivating the land and giving rent to the landlord. In Central and Eastern Europe, there was serfdom. That means slaves were there. People were living here as slaves in Central and Eastern Europe. Serfdom. In Western Europe, tenants. So this was also a big difference. This aristocrat, their language was different. Even there is an example given on this page, making of nationalism, that Austria-Hungary Empire, Habsburg dynasty. It was a patchwork of different regions and languages. In Austria-Hungary, some people were speaking German language, some were French, Magyar, regional dialects. In Lombardy, Venetia, Italian. So, same kingdom, but in patches there were different languages speaking people were there. So, concept of nation state was not there. Nation state, common origin, they have common culture, etc. But here it was not seen. Next is liberal nationalism, liberalism. The liberalism derived from the word labor, that means free. And in this, the social, political and economic ideas are very important. In social idea, equality. Social idea, equality before. In political ideas and economic, these are more important. Political idea, it says government by consent of people. Consent word means rai se, sehmati se. So government should be by the advice of the people. That doesn't mean actual democracy like today. Democracy nahi hai. Only government by consent of people. लोगों की राय से few of the people are voting and the government is being formed. Even Napolean, etc., had not given women any right to vote. In economic ideas, more freedom to the means of protection. That means in economic sphere, government should not interfere. Again and again, government should not interfere in the matter of production. Freedom of market. More appropriate, freedom of market. People were free to purchase, sell their things. So this was how liberalism was working. Liberal nationalism. Government by consent of people was the political idea of the liberals. And freedom of market. Government should not restrict, have any control over the movement of goods and capital. People can take loan, etc. from any part. They can invest money in any part. People can sell or purchase things from different parts of the country. Now, this was a period like mid 18th century. Industrialization took place in England. that is Britain, industrialization, large scale industries, factories came up. But in France, Germany, it was 19th century. And with the industrialization, a new class developed, that was middle class, educated middle class. So first to develop was Britain, then France, Germany, and much later were the Eastern European countries. So this was how middle class developed. Next is the concept of Jollvalium. Jollvalium was a custom union. Jollvalium was a custom union which was formed on the initiative of Prussia. Prussia means today's Germany. So on the initiative of Prussia, this custom union developed in 1834. In 1834, this custom union developed on the initiative of Prussia, and the major things are done by it. First, tariff barriers were removed. Tariff barrier like import, export tax, etc. So such restrictions were removed. Actually, they did in many states. So these were the different states. Now they decided, okay, suppose this is A kind of state and this was B, C, D. Now this country want to sell something in C. They can sell without any import export tax. So internal custom duty kind of thing was removed. From here to here, if they want to sell, they can easily sell. Custom department etc. will not be needed. So somewhat this kind of concept they developed. Started in 1818, but finally in 1834 this Jollvalium came into existence. In German Confederation was there. Custom duties were removed within this. Tariff barriers removed. Second, railway line developed. Now people were they were able to move from one region to another. Number of currency. Number of currency were reduced from 30 to 2. So this was how economic nationalism developed. And this has helped in unification of Germany. The unification of Germany was the biggest reason was Jollvalium. Other than this cultural awareness, etc., this Jollvalium was the main reason. Next is the Vienna Congress. It was a meeting held in Vienna in 1815. In 1815, this meeting was held, Vienna Congress, and it was hosted by Metternich of Austria. He was a conservative by ideology. He was a conservative. So when Napoleon was defeated in the Battle of Waterloo, 1815, Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon was defeated. And after the defeat of Napoleon, Duke Metternich, actually Napoleon was defeated by a joint army of Austria, Russia, Britain. So these countries united and defeated Napoleon. Now the country who got the victory, They said that now we should sit together and decide how to divide this empire of Napoleon again. There was a big empire of Napoleon. Now how to divide it? This part you will take, this I will take, this you will take. So it was somewhat this kind of thing. And second important was bring back conservatism. Napoleon was not from a ruling dynasty. He was a military general who reached to the topmost post of military, and then he became the dictator and then ruler. Duke Metternich and other such people, they were not happy with Napoleon. You know, you are not from that ruling family and you cannot rule. So they called this meeting. Duke Metternich, Austria, aim to divide the empire of Napoleon as well as bring back conservatism. Bring back conservatism. So this was the aim of the Vienna Congress. Now, the Bourbon dynasty was restored in France. The Bourbon dynasty was the ruling dynasty in France. Usko वापस ले जाए. Now you will rule. Now, a series of states were made on the boundary of France to prevent further expansion. Because this is France. Now we should make new states on the border, so that ये France ना तो इधर पड़े ना इधर पड़े. So with this aim, Belgium and Netherlands were joined together and a United Kingdom of Netherlands was formed. Genoa was added in Piedmont in south. This was in north, this was in south. Prussia was given new territory. Prussia was also there with Austria, etc. In defeating Napoleon, Prussia played an important role. So now they were given an important territory on the western frontier. Russia was given part of Poland. Yeah, you can write in the better. Poland was given to Russia. Poland was given to Russia. So everyone got some or the other thing. Now they were happy. We are defeated Napoleon, and all the countries who are defeated Napoleon are given something. So this was the Vienna Congress. Yeah. Treaty of Vienna. Both the things you can write. It can be asked as Treaty of Vienna. Congress also means meeting. Called by Duke Metternich. Who was Duke Metternich? Austrian Chancellor. Ideologically conservative. Aim to undo whatever Napoleon has done. It was the empire of Napoleon to divide. Napoleon was ruled by Bourbon dynasty. Again it was given, and these kind of things were changed. Clear? Now this new conservative rights which were set up, this kind of system, they did not tolerate any kind of criticism. Whatever the king has said is final. No one can question the legitimacy of the king. जो उन्होंने कह दिया सब सही है. There was strict control, censorship on media. Media was not at all free, and they did not tolerate any kind of criticism. Now the remaining part, in one more video, the remaining part of the chapter will complete. Yeah.